Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text number 20 onwards. So Krishna is further saying, Travidya mam somapaha putapapa yagya rishtva svargatim prarthayante te punyam asadya surendra lokam shanti divyam divi deva bhoga. So until the last verse, Krishna was telling Arjuna that how to see him everywhere, how to see his hand everywhere. Like last verse, he said, "Oh Arjun, I give heat, and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am immortality, and I am also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me." And now he says, Travidya Mam Sukma, means those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. The word Traividya refers to the three Vedas, Sam, Yajur, and Rig. A Brahman who has studied these three Vedas is called a Trivedi. Anyone who's very much attached to knowledge derived from these three Vedas, respected in society. Unfortunately, there are many great scholars of the Vedas who do not know the ultimate purport of studying them. Therefore, Krishna herein declares himself to be the ultimate goal for the three Vedis. Actual three Vedis take shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and engage in pure devotional service to satisfy the Lord. Devotional service begins with the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and side by side trying to understand Krishna in truth. Unfortunately, those who are simply official students of the Vedas become more interested in offering sacrifices to the different demigods like Indra and Chandra. By such endeavor, the worshippers of different demigods are certainly purified of the contaminations of the lower qualities of nature and are thereby elevated to the higher planetary systems or heavenly planets known as Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, etc. Once situated on those higher planetary systems, one can satisfy his senses hundreds of thousands of times better than on this planet. So, so now now he's talking about people who do yagya and they try to go to heavenly planets. So those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. So now he's talking about the reaction or worshipping the demigods, because worshipping me indirectly, Krishna says, studying the Vedas, the Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, the real goal of studying the Vedas is actually to understand Krishna, to find Krishna. But those who don't study with that spirit, with that inclination, they seek the heavenly planets. But studying Vedas it's a big yagya, and one can go to heavenly planets by studying Vedas and drinking the Soma juice. Soma juice is not like people mistake it, Soma juice to be some kind of liquor. Those who drink liquor, they cannot go to heavenly planets. Like there is a verse that will come later on. The urdhvam gachanti saprastho. Those who are in mode of goodness, they only go to higher planets. Those who are in mode of ignorance and passion, they go down. Either they go down to the lower planets or they remain on this planet, but they go down in the lower species of life. So going to heavenly planets means one has to be in mode of goodness. One who goes beyond the mode of goodness, then he goes back to the spiritual world. So going to the heavenly planets or going to even higher than the heavenly planets, like we were discussing in Bhagavatam, no? That Bhurloka, Bhuvar, Swargloka, then uh, Janloka, Taploka, Maharloka, Satyaloka, something like that, if I'm remembering the sequence properly. So Swargloka is Swargloka. And above the Swargloka, then is Janaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, and Satyaloka, where Brahmaji lives. So to even go to those planets, one has to be in real mode of goodness. And drinking soma juice does not make one go crazy, like if somebody is drinking liquor. So soma juice is not what people wrongly think it is. But still, even going to heavenly planets or Janlok, Tapalok, Maharlok, Satyalok, it's still worshipping Krishna indirectly. They don't know the real purpose of studying the Vedas. But still, they get purified of sinful reactions. They take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. So this is a reaction. So also in this part, I wanted to say here Krishna is saying those who study Vedas, drink so much juice, seeking heaven, worshiping. That's how one goes to heavenly planets. Heavenly planets are also not easy to be attained, and certainly not by those people who kill others in the name of religion, and then they say, oh, because our scriptures say we'll go to Jannat, and so many huras are there waiting for us, 72 huras are there waiting for us. They definitely cannot go to heaven because they are in so much of mode of ignorance and passion. They cannot go to heaven. Heaven is not just for people who think they can do some nonsense activities like this, kill in the name of religion, and they think they can reach heaven. No way. So they have to study the scriptures properly and follow them. And this is what Prabhupada is writing. Unfortunately, those who are simply official students of the Vedas become more interested in offering sacrifices to the different demigods like Indra and Chandra. And this is what Krishna had told Arjun in the second chapter of Gita, when he said, Traigunya Vesha Veda, Nestra Gunya Bhavarjuna, Nirdundu Nitya Sutrastu, Niryoga Kshematma. Traigunya. See, all the Vedas mainly deal with the three modes of material nature. And also in shlokas followed to that shloka, Krishna tells Arjun that the Vedas, the flowery words of Vedas, to get your attachment out of the flowery words of Vedas. Because flowery words of Vedas, they induce person to go to heaven. Of course, to do pious activities, to do good activities, become a good person, and go to heaven. Because why heaven? Because heaven is so beautiful. Heaven is like full of wonderful gardens, wonderful palaces are there, forests are there, mountains are there, and you will enjoy your life for 10,000 years or more than that. And of course, there are so many apsaras are there, and you will enjoy with them. So the Vedas, they describe heavenly planets in very, very flowery language. So the whole idea is that people should at least start following the Vedas. At least do that. Better than not doing anything, at least come to the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. Then if one gets frustrated, then one takes up to Jnana Kanda and Hatha Yoga and Bhakti Yoga and then further on. So it's a long process. It's like one takes a long route to going back home, back to Godhead. But the idea is at least let him start following the scriptures, following something of the scriptures. But that's the idea. And here Krishna says, once situated on those higher planetary systems, one can satisfy his senses hundreds of thousands of times better than on this planet. So little sacrifice here on earth, little sacrifice of one's inclination to enjoy or one's time that one can spend in his own sense gratification if he spends in studying of scriptures or worshipping Krishna, and if one still goes to heavenly planets. So Krishna is saying the quality of sense gratification on heavenly planets is hundreds of thousands of times better than here. So one is not really a loser if one follows the way. And who knows if he gets in the right association and he can follow the real purport of Vedas, import of Vedas, which is to worship Krishna, then he can get eligible to go back to the spiritual world. Because from heavenly planets, Krishna says in text 21, Te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam shine punya marti lokam vishanti evam tre dharmam anuprapanna gata gatam kama labhante. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. So the problem is going to heavenly planet. So one does lots of sacrifices and then goes to heaven, and one can enjoy there for a long time as compared to earth. Of course, over there the time is still 100 years, but when we look in comparison with earth, and 10,000, minimum 10,000 years pass by. But the problem is, once the results of the pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Kshine punya martilokam vishanti. So from devotee point of view, what's the use? It's just wastage of time. It's just like if sitting in Delhi where there's cold, where there's pollution and so many problems, and one gets some money somehow, maybe he worked hard or maybe somebody gave him that money, and he takes the money and goes to maybe South India for a nice trip, 15 days, 20 days, 1 month. But once the money is over, vacation is over, he has to come back to Delhi, Delhi, smelly Delhi, and start all over again. So, well, getting out of Delhi for 15, 20 days, not a big deal, not a problem. But if one goes to heavenly planets and spends so many years over there, and then he comes back, takes birth again on Earth planet, and again go through the cycle of birth, old age, disease, death, adi deve, kadi atme, kadi bhautik klesh, then of course it is Krishna's mercy that he makes us forget what we have done or what we have suffered or enjoyed in the previous life. But if he realizes that knowledge through the scriptures, through some self-realized soul, then he will say, why am I wasting my time going to earth or going to heaven, coming back again, and then maybe go to hell and then come back again? It's just a wastage of time. Why I am doing that? Let me just get out of here. So idea is that. Purport. One who is promoted to the higher planetary systems enjoys a longer duration of life and better facilities for sense enjoyment. Yet one is not allowed to stay there forever. One is again sent back to this earth upon finishing the resultant fruits of pious activities. He who has not attained perfection of knowledge, as indicated in the Vedanta Sutras, Janmadhyasya Yata, or in other words, He who fails to understand Krishna, the cause of all causes, becomes baffled upon achieving the ultimate goal of life, and is thus subjected to the routine of being promoted to the higher planetary systems and then again coming down as if situated on a Ferris wheel, which sometimes goes up and sometimes comes down. So this is a result of one who has not attained perfection of knowledge. So the real knowledge means engaging oneself in the service of Krishna. The purport is that instead of being elevated to the spiritual world from which there is no longer any possibility of coming down, one simply revolves in the cycle of birth and death on higher and lower planetary systems. One should better take to the spiritual world to enjoy an eternal life full of bliss and knowledge and never return to this miserable material existence. So the idea is to take up the process that takes one back to the spiritual world. So that process is yoga. Text 22. And now Krishna says, for those who worship me, what happens to them? Ananya chintayanto mam ye jana paripasate tesham nitya viyaptanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So to even to the students of Vedas, those who are doing pious activities, those who are doing yagyas, and they to go to heaven, they come back again after their pious activities are over. But those who are engaging in worshipping me with devotion, and Krishna says, meditating on my transcendental form, I carry what they lack, not to anybody else, not to the pious people, not to people who are doing good pious activities, only to my devotees. I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Very important verse. Of course, LIC people stole this word from here, Yoga Kshema Mahamyaham. That is from Bhagavad Gita. That is what Krishna is telling to Arjun and through Arjun to his devotees. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day. Being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship and surrendering fully to the Lord. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies, which make the devotee perfect in self-realization, so that his only desire is to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a devotee undoubtedly approaches the Lord without difficulty. This is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Kshema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga. And when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to miserable, conditioned life. That is the promise of Krishna. So for his devotees, he says, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. If there is anything lacking in them that is going to take them back to spiritual world, Krishna says, I fill it up. I fulfill it. And whatever they have, whatever progress they have made, even if it takes them few lifetimes, so I preserve their progress. It doesn't go away. Not the same as going to heaven. Heaven one goes when his pious activities are exhausted, he comes back to the earthly planet again. But not when one makes advancement in bhakti. So that's the advantage of performing bhakti. And here Krishna says, if we look at the words, he says, Yoga Kshema Vahami Aham. Aham means I personally do it. I don't get it done by somebody else either. I personally do it. So there was an acharya. His name was Arjun Acharya. In South India, he was there, living with his wife in his house, and he used to write commentary on Bhagavad Gita. He was writing a commentary. When he came to this verse, he somehow, Krishna's mercy, his intelligence got bewildered. He was looking at this verse, he was concentrating, he was meditating, and he says, no, I don't think Krishna himself does it. He gets it done by somebody else. So he crossed this verse on his Bhagavad Gita, and I don't exactly remember the wording he used. It was Vahami Aham when Krishna says, he says something like, I get it done. Of course, Krishna still gets it done, but he personally doesn't do it. And even after meditating on the verse again and writing his commentary, he wasn't satisfied. So he said, okay, let me just do something else for a while and I'll come back to it. So he told his wife, I'm going to go and take bath in the river and you prepare my lunch, and when I come back, I have lunch, and then I have more writing to do. Wife said, okay. So when he left, and wife was cooking in the kitchen, and then there was a knock on the door. She opened the door, and she saw two beautiful boys at the door. And she said, yes. They said, oh, your husband, Arjun Acharya, he has sent this stuff for home, all this like rice and dal and vegetables and fruits. So we have carried it, and here it is, you please take it. So wife said, okay. But she saw this boy, the younger boy, he had some tears in his eyes. So wife was like, why are you crying, boy? The boy said, well, you please take this stuff fast because your husband might beat me up if I don't give it to you. Wife said, my husband, Arjun Acharya, he's such a gentle and noble soul. He doesn't beat up anybody, and you're such a beautiful boy. Why would he beat you up? He has never hit anybody. Said, no, he hit me on his back. And boy said, you better take this stuff and we have to leave. So those two boys, they gave the stuff to wife and they left. Arjun Acharya came back, and wife, actually what wife did, she ate lunch before Arjun Acharya. So Arjun Acharya came back and he saw wife had already finished her lunch. And he said, Devi, what's wrong? You never eat before feeding me. How come you've forgotten your dharma? Wife said, my dear husband, when you can forget your dharma, I don't have to follow my dharma. Arjun Acharya said, what dharma I didn't follow? What are you talking about? Wife said, how in the world, as pious Brahman as you are, you beat up a beautiful boy like that? Arjun Acharya, what beautiful boy? I didn't hit anybody. I didn't even meet anybody. I went to Ganges, big bath, and came back. I then told him the whole story. These two beautiful boys came and they gave the stuff, and the boy showed on his back the scratches came from your beating. Arjuna Acharya said, I didn't meet any boy. What did those two boys look like? She said, well, one was whitish in color and the younger one was blackish in color, but they were both beautiful. Arjuna Acharya understood. He said, oh, Krishna Balram themselves had come and they delivered the food items that we didn't have in our house. They personally came to deliver. And then he went to his Bhagavad Gita shloka, this shloka that he had scratched. And actually, this Bhagavad Gita, what are Krishna's words, they're non-different from Krishna. So when he had scratched, it actually put scratches on Krishna's back. And when he looked at his Bhagavad Gita, all the scratches were gone. And the shlok was as it is. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Krishna says, I personally do it for my devotees. So then Arjuna Acharya was actually very happy with his wife. He said, you took darshan of my Lord. They came to give you darshan. They never came to give me darshan. But they came to give you darshan. You're so fortunate. So this is what Krishna's mercy is. And when we talk about Krishna being omnipresent, yes, he's omnipresent. He's everywhere as Paramatma. But for his devotees, wherever his devotees are, he's personally present there. Personally. It's just we don't perceive his presence. That's a different story, but he's there. So we just have to develop faith. And what kind of faith? Krishna says, Ananyaschintayantam, not anybody else, just me. Ye jana paripasate. So completely he's talking about bhakti yoga. Paripasate, upasate means worship. Or worship me with love and devotion. So to those people, not to any other yogi, not to karmi yogi, jnana yogi, hatha yogi, anybody else, only for my bhakti yogis. He says, Tesham nitya abhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. To them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. And I personally do it. In fact, I have told this story earlier that once Akbar asked Birbal, the Birbal, why in your Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, your Supreme Lord Krishna, he says, he personally does it. He protects his devotees. Why he has to personally do it? Why doesn't he send one of his demigods, one of his expansions, or one of his powerful entities? So Birbal understood that I cannot explain this to Maharaj like this. So he said, Maharaj, just give me a few days' time. I'll give you an answer to this question. So Akbar said, okay. So Birbal, what he did, he brought it, he asked this question. Akbar, please come. I have arranged a wonderful ride in Yamuna on a beautiful boat for you. Now, not just you, bring your whole family, bring all your generals, Senapati and ministers and everybody. And let's go. And Akbar was very happy. Okay, we'll go. We have a nice boat ride in Yamuna. And he told everybody come along. All the big generals, ministers, everybody was there. So while they were riding on that boat, so Birbal had arranged one maid servant of Akbar. And Akbar was like standing at the deck, enjoying the nice ride. Of course, that time in Yamuna there was some water also. Not these days. There is no water in Yamuna near Delhi. And he saw towards the back of the boat, and he saw his maid servant picked up Akbar's little son, and she threw him in Yamuna. And Akbar was, what in the world is going on? And he from the boat, he just jumped in Yamuna and swam towards his son. And he grabbed his son. And seeing Akbar jumping in Yamuna, so many of his ministers and the generals, they also jumped behind Akbar. And Akbar swam towards this boy, and he grabbed this boy, and he was coming back. And then he saw the boy. Actually, it was the doll in the form of his boy. And he was more angry at this maid servant, what in the world she was doing, and somehow he came back upon the boat. And then he called the maid servant, "What did you do? Why did you do this? I'm gonna kill you. You're given a death punishment right away." And she was scared and she was shivering with fear, and she said, "Maharaj, I didn't do anything. I did whatever Birbal told me to do. If you have to ask anything, ask Birbal." So Akbar was still angry. "Birbal, what did you do? Why did you tell her to do all this nonsense?" Birbal asked him, "Akbar Maharaj, when you saw your maidservant throwing this doll, of course it was in the form of your boy, and throwing this boy in the Yamuna, and you had all your ministers, all your generals with you, why did you jump in Yamuna? Why didn't you tell your ministers in general to go and bring your boy back?" Akbar said, how could I wait? I love my boy. I just jumped. I couldn't think of anything. Birbal said, the Lord is also the same. When he sees his devotee in any kind of trouble, he cannot wait. He doesn't wait to send Garuda or Chakra, or he send to Vishnu or Shiva or anybody else. He himself comes running to protect his devotee because of the love he has for his devotees. So then Akbar understood. And that's what we also have to understand. Krishna is there to protect us, to take care of us. Only thing is what we have to do. Always worship him with exclusive devotion, meditating on his transcendental. That's all. Faith is what we have to develop. Of course, we don't want Krishna to come and serve us by trying to protect us. Of course, this is not what we want from Krishna. But we have to continue services, our devotion, our bhakti, everything. There's so much of faith, there's so much of love and devotion. Perceive Krishna's presence everywhere, all the time with us. And Krishna is guaranteeing he will protect us. That's his guarantee. But then Krishna says, those who don't worship me, they will worship the demigods. What happens to them? Text 23. Ye api anya devta bhakta yajante shadhyanvita te api mameva kaunteya yajanta adi avidhi purvakam. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship me only, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. Why he says actually worshiping me only? Because whatever benedictions they get from other demigods, actually they come from me. The demigods cannot give on their own until I give them the power to give you the benedictions. So indirectly you're worshipping me. But it's indirectly. So it doesn't have the same result. Persons who are engaged in the worship of demigods are not very intelligent, although such worship is offered to me indirectly, Krishna says. For example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree, without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, And to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated here as avidhi purvak. In other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods. So the demigods are there and they're very powerful, but that power is bestowed upon them by Krishna himself. So anybody who worships them is worshipping Krishna, but in an indirect way, in a wrong way. Just like we are studying in Bhagavatam about the universal form of the Lord. So yesterday we studied Indra and other demigods, they are like his arms of the universal form. But they are not the full universal form. Like the arms. By arms we do some activity, we do some work. But just worshipping the arm doesn't mean we are worshipping the whole body, whole person, and the person behind the universal form. It doesn't mean that. So the demigods are there. Demigods are very important for the management of the universal affairs. But that's about it. So we, so for a devotee, for an unalloyed devotee of Krishna, he respects the demigods, yes, but worship or bhakti is for Krishna only. And when we ananya chintima, without any deviation, one worships Krishna with full love and devotion, of course, then Krishna takes care of that devotee. And at the same time, Krishna said in the second chapter, the way one worships me, I reward him accordingly. If we worship him or we surrender unto him 50%, then his mercy will be there 50%. So if we want full mercy, we have to surrender fully. Simple as that. Text 24. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhurev cha natumam abhijananti tatvena tashyavanti te. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. So Krishna says, I'm the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. It should not be for any demigod. It should be for me only. Here it is clearly stated that there are many types of yajna performances fragmented in the Vedic literatures, but actually all of them are meant for satisfying the Supreme Lord. Yajna means Vishnu. In the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that one should only work for satisfying Yajna or Vishnu. The perfectional form of human civilization, known as Varnashram Dharma, is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. Therefore, Krishna says in this verse, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices because I am the Supreme Master. Less intelligent persons, however, without knowing this fact, worship demigods for temporary benefit. Therefore, they fall down to material existence and do not achieve the desired goal of life. Less intelligent persons, however, without knowing this fact that Krishna is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, worship demigods for temporary benefit. So temporary benefit. Give me money, give me good health, give me nice wife, give me nice husband, get my son married to a nice girl, get my son in entrance in medical engineering exam, get my son a job in America, get my daughter a nice husband, get me this, get me that. These are all temporary benefits. And for that, people do go to temples of demigods. And they spend so much of time and energy and money over there. But Krishna says these are less intelligent, and therefore they fall down to material existence and do not achieve the desired goal of life. The desired goal of life is Krishna, service of Krishna, bhakti of Krishna. If, however, anyone has any material desires to be fulfilled, he had better pray for it to the Supreme Lord, although that is not pure devotion, and he will thus achieve the desired result. So Prabhupada is saying, and this is what Srimad Bhagavatam says in one shloka. If somebody has any material desires to be fulfilled, of course we all have. We are not gone beyond the desire or no desired position. We are not there yet. So the recommendation is, even if we have any material desires, we should worship Krishna. We should pray to Krishna for those material desires to be fulfilled. He can fulfill them if he wants to. And Prabhupada is saying, and he will thus achieve the desired result. Of course, it's not pure devotion, but that is fine. It's impure devotion. Impure devotion is still better than pure karma kanda procedure. Even if there is any mixture in pure devotion service, it's still better than karma kanda, going to other demigods. So, idea is, no matter what, we should worship Krishna. And what happens if one worships demigods versus what happens worshipping Krishna? Yanti deva vrita devan, pitrin yanti pitrivrita, bhutani yanti bhuteja, yanti matyajino api maham. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. It's simple as that. If one has any desire to go to the moon, the sun, or any other planet, one can attain the desired destination by following specific Vedic principles recommended for that purpose, such as the technically known as Darsha Purnamashi. These are vividly described in the fruitive activities portions of the Vedas, which are Karma Kanda, which recommends its specific worship of demigods situated on different heavenly planets. Similarly, one can attain the Pita planets, or actually it should be Pitri planets, by performing a specific yagya. Similarly, one can go to many ghostly planets and become a Yaksha, Rakshas, or Pishach. Pishach worship is called black arts or black magic. There are many men who practice this black art and then they think that it is spiritualism. But such activities are completely materialistic. So black art, black magic, it's all goes on. It's all part of tantras. But those who worship ghosts, then they go to the planet of ghosts. Krishna clearly says here. Similarly, a pure devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead only achieves the planet of Vaikuntha and Krishna Loka without a doubt. It's very easy to understand through this important verse that if by simply worshipping the demigods, one can achieve the heavenly planets, or by worshipping the Pitas, achieve the Pitri planet, or by practicing the black arts, achieve the ghostly planets, why can the pure devotee not achieve the planet of Krishna or Vishnu? Unfortunately, many people have no information of these sublime planets where Krishna and Vishnu live. And because they do not know of them, they fall down. Even the impersonalists fall down from the Brahmjyoti. Impersonalists, they worship Brahmjyoti. They say ultimate absolute has no form, no rupa, no activities, nothing. So they can only actually approach or attain Brahmjyoti. And from that also they fall down. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore distributing sublime information to the entire human society to the effect that by simply chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become perfect in this life and go back home, back to content. So very sublime, yet very powerful process is chanting of the holy names. Only thing is, we have to chant with full devotion and love and without offenses. So I'll I'll stop here. See anybody with any questions or comments. Actually, today we had a Christmas party in our office, and I came back at 9:15. At 9 o'clock, I had to leave the class, so I was rushing all the time. Anyway, anybody have any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mata.
I have one question. Uh, Prabhuji, actually, whenever we chant, as I told you earlier, also our mind flickers from here and there. Within 1 minute, I'm thinking something else, and then within second minute, I'm thinking something else. So my question is, if somehow if we get to know that we are doing, of course we are doing anyway, we are doing offensive chanting, but then sometimes we realize that this is not good. I mean, this is all offensive chanting, and so immediately if we stop chanting and then we think that okay, after 1 hour or after some time I'll chant, I'll try to focus. So is it okay, or shall we try to chant at that time only, because I know that my mind is not stable, or my mind is thinking something else, and if that time if I'm chanting, it is not good. It is absolutely purely offensive chanting. So it is better to leave chanting at that time and then after some time start, or we should go on chanting
That
and thinking.
that you have to decide what's best for you. If you can leave chanting at that time and come back again later on in the day and finish, complete your rounds, okay, that's fine. If you think if I don't chant right now, I will never get a chance to come back again to complete my rounds. I'll get busy with so many other activities. So better complete your rounds at that time. Yes, it is offensive. It is inattentive chanting. But at the same time, we are determined to please Srila Prabhupada by following his order, by sincerely trying to follow his orders of chanting 16 rounds. So pleasure of Prabhupada is also there, that Prabhupada sees he or she is struggling, but trying, still trying. So that you have to see what's the best situation for you. Many
But
times
then
it
that,
happens. Yeah.
but that would be anyway. It would be offensive chanting, so it will not going to help us.
No. It will definitely help us. We have discussed this point earlier. It will definitely help us. It will not have the same effect as if we are not offensive in chanting, if we are doing pure chanting or nam abhasa stage of chanting. It will not have that kind of effect, but it will definitely have effect. See, the offensive chanting, the other offenses that we commit during chanting, that's a bigger problem than inattentive chant. I'm not saying inattentive chanting is good. Please don't mistake that. But other offenses like criticizing devotees or other offenses that we listed, all the 10 offenses, those are very serious offenses. Inattentive chanting is because of a conditioning of our mind, less practice, or less association, um, less time. We are always running around, so we have just this much time, whether attentive, inattentive, I have to do it. So that is a different story. And less control on our mind, so much of desire, so many desires are there. And one more thing that we all have experience with, when we start chanting, then so many desires, material, sense gratification desires, they come up that we think we never had when we were not chanting, actually. So many. And very weird desires will come out. And you will think, what in the world is this coming out? Where is this desire coming from? I could never do that. Should not even think like that. But what happens, actually what happens is, example is given by Prabhupada, that if there is a room which is very dirty, lots of dust and dirt was there on the floor, and we see it is dirty and we pick up a broom and start cleaning it. So much of dust will come up in the air and it will disturb us, it will bother us. But if it bothers, we cannot just leave the room. We have to keep on cleaning, then it will get cleansed. So similarly, our mind, there's so many desires from so many lifetimes. Unfulfilled desires are there. And now by chanting, the cleansing is taking place. So when cleansing is taking place, so many desires will just rise up from the floor and disturb us. But rest assured, they're getting cleansed. The house, the heart is getting cleansed. So very soon it will be clean. So do not worry about inattentive chant. Yes, I mean, in one way, be worried. I'm not saying, but it's not as bad as other offenses which we commit. So whether inattentive, whether some attention, whether whatever, keep on chanting. And then, as I said, you are the better judge of if you think you can have time later part of the day and you can chant better later, go ahead. That you have to decide.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. Any other question or comment? So I guess we can stop here. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare